Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to come back here again on stage to talk to you about the work that we do at the Africa Cancer Registries Network. Yesterday, I realized that my eyesight is a problem, so forgive me for that. I'm going to use this other screen. Okay. All right. So the Africa Cancer Registries Network, I will talk a little bit about how it was started, because having interacted with most of you, you've asked me about what it's all about, how does it work? So it is a network of population-based registries. It began way back in the year 2009 with two registries, that is the Registry of Kampala Cancer Registry in Uganda, and Nairobi Cancer Registry at Cambridge. And so we began working together, sharing ideas, activities, and over time, by the year 2010, there were more registries that came together, and we started what was called East Africa Registries Network. And this was a network of about 7 cancer registries. That is the Registry of Malawi, Blantyre Cancer Registry. We had Harare, Zimbabwe. We had Rwanda. We had a number of registries here that you see. So from 2009 here, we moved to 2010, and we had about 7 cancer registries. And then we went here in 2012. This is when we launched the Africa Cancer Registries Network, because more members joined in. And we've been doing activities with these members. And currently the membership stands at 35 population-based registries in 25 countries. So a lot of the work that we do is, we share data, we bring this data together, we train our staff so that they are able to collect quality data that we can use to inform cancer control. We do a lot of research studies, so we share our data for research, and we collaboratively work together with IAC, implementing the activities of GICR, the Global Initiative for Cancer Registries. So this is where we are as far as the network is concerned. And okay. So these are some of the studies that we have done, or rather ongoing studies that we have. We have what we call SAVGAN, and this is managed by IAC. It is led by Dr. Freddie Bray of the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and they pull data from population-based cancer registries on survival. So they have a large database of data where they're going to study survival for the different types of cancers. So that data, that study is ongoing. We've done a lot of studies looking at trends in cervical cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, all the leading cancers that we see from the data that we generate. We've done a lot of publications. I believe if you were to look for publications on incidence, mortality, on cancer in sub-Saharan Africa, you will find a lot of those publications from the Africa Cancer Registries Network. We've also done a lot of survival studies, and I presented some of that data yesterday. We've done survival studies where we follow up women over time, and then we are able to calculate survival. So basically, we've done for breast cancer, we've also done for cervical cancer, and we are now doing more studies in that area, looking at childhood cancers as well, ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer, and basically just utilizing the data to inform us on what are some of the research areas that we need to pursue based on the data that we collect. We have an e-learning platform that enable us to train and to impart skills to our staff. So this online platform, it began because of the COVID-19. Previously, we used to have on-site trainings, but because of COVID-19, we've now adopted other strategies to be able to train our staff, to mentor our staff, so that we can generate quality data on cancer. We recently as well establish what we call collaborating centers. So a number of countries were given the mandate to actually host a center where they can be able to support the registries. So we now have the National Cancer Registry of South Africa, and we have the Nairobi Cancer Registry, where I work, as the collaborating centers that are targeting the English-speaking countries. And then we have one in Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, that is targeting the French-speaking countries. So these collaborating centers supports the hub, which is the Africa Cancer Registries Network. The secretariat of the hub is based in Oxford, and it is headed by, or rather coordinated by Professor Max Parkin. I believe probably most of you know about Max Parkin, and he is the coordinator of the network, but the activities are implemented by member registries. And now, because of the collaborating centers, a lot of those activities are cascaded to the collaborating centers. We are also doing studies on record linkage. So we have record linkage studies where we link the database. So we have a large database of data. You can imagine we've been working since 2009, and each of these registries are submitting data to the Africa Cancer Registries Network. So when we want to do studies, we seek permission from the registries, whether they want to participate in a particular study. And when they consent, that is when we are able to do those studies. So we are currently doing studies on record linkage, where we link the cancer registry database to cancer screening databases. And also we're looking at another study where we will be linking to the HIV database. And in future, we would be able to also link to HPV registries. And this is why I talked yesterday and I said it is an opportunity to establish, because you are working on HPV vaccination. This is a good opportunity to establish HPV registries, because in future, then you can be able to do all these linkage studies. So we are also doing a linkage study where we're linking the registry to the HIV database, so as we look at the HIV-related malignancies. Okay, and this is the, so this really is just to show the value of population-based cancer registries. I've said that a cancer registry is really a tool for research, and it's a tool to do monitoring, to evaluate the interventions that we are doing in, you know, in the area of cancer, because cervical cancer, as we've seen from our data, is a major cancer affecting women. And for us to be able to monitor, to see, to learn, you know, how are the strategies that we are putting in place? If we are doing screening, if we are doing vaccination, are those having an impact on the population? Are these rates beginning to go down? We are targeting elimination, where we're looking at 4 per 100,000. A lot of the countries right now are at 40 per 100,000 or 50 per 100,000. So we need to be able to track, you know, the interventions that we're doing, so that we know that we're making an impact. And if we look at this chart here, you can see, you know, these are tools that you monitor activities in the population. So here we have an healthy population, and this is where we're doing, you know, HPV vaccination. And we can be able to either use surveys, or we can start HPV registries. And when we move to the next stage, where we are diagnosing cancers or newly diagnosed cancers, we can be able to use the registries to really understand the incidence of those particular cancers that we are seeing. And this is where population-based cancer registries come into place. We can be able to do survival, you know, for those that have been diagnosed with cancer over time. We want to understand, what is the survival? What are we having, you know, the outcome? What are the outcomes from the different therapies that these patients are receiving? So we can be able to use population-based registries for these two activities. And then, of course, mortality. We'd also want to know what was the mortality. And here we can use vital statistics or cancer registries as well. So it's really a monitoring tool for us to know how we are progressing as far as the interventions that were put in place are concerned. Okay. All right. I've actually finished. So this is just a slide to say that, you know, cancer registries are an important tool for measuring cancer control interventions. So we need to collaborate with all the stakeholders so that we move together in terms of, in terms of assessing or evaluating all the interventions that we're putting in place. So Cancer Registry is a valuable tool, and I urge all of us, we collaborate and we work together. Thank you so much.